Good morning. Good morning from Melbourne, Australia. Good evening to North America. And hello to anyone watching on replay. My name is Nancy Hetker. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Australia. And I have got 3 versions of a new project for you. Hello, Gladys. Glad you could join me today. If you are here, please do say hello in the comments, either live or on replay. I do see them, like to see your comments. So I have been going full out with Christmas and Hanukkah and New Year's for weeks now, it feels like, even though last week I did a non-holiday card. I'm going to do another one today, and this is a design that I have adapted from a card by Laura Beecham, who is another Australian demonstrator. And it's going to feature the extraordinary Flora, the washi tape. And I've done other projects with this for you on live, and you can see lots of projects on my blog with it. But one of the really cool things about this one is all of these designs, which come in with both purpley flowers and pinky flowers, coral pink, is that when you spread it out, you can then align this die with the designs and cut them out. And we may have to do that. And it also has a stamp set that also coordinates perfectly with the alignment on the die and the tape. So there's all kinds of things you can do with it. I have an accumulation of mostly washi tape that I've cut out. Some of them, the black and white ones, are just the stamp that's been cut out. So I think we're going to be able to pull from these. Now, some of them, what I did with the stamp, I'll just show you really fast here, is I stamped in Versamark on top of the washi tape and then embossed in gold, which are pretty cool. The gold tends to flake off a little bit. It's not too bad, so if you don't handle it a whole lot. But I don't think I'm going to necessarily use the gold embossed ones. We'll see how we go. Again, we'll just kind of see how we're tracking here. I've done it the gold twice, and one of them it really started to flake off, so I did it again, and it worked better. I think I perhaps didn't have enough ink, or I can't remember now what I decided the problem might have been. So I'm just kind of sorting through these a little bit real fast while I chatter with you. Hi, Michelle, and hi, Sarah. Good to see you today. So I'm just sorting through some of these washi tape die cuts, so I know what I'm pulling from as I create these cards today. I don't need to take a whole lot of time to do this, but just a little bit here. Da, 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 da. So we're going to be using Night of Navy card bases, and there, done. Go. And the border part is going to be this white strip up here at the top. So I'm going to get a sense of where that is. And then I thought for a sentiment, I'm going to bring in this Impressions of Bloom, which is now a last chance item. But I really like the script on that. Thanks. So I am going to bring in my embossing buddy, which you may know is a pouch with some powder. It's like, I don't know, talcum powder, cornstarch, something like that. And it keeps the oils from your hands. It dries up any oils from your hands. It reduces static if that's an issue. which shouldn't really be an issue today, but it makes it so that when you sprinkle the embossing powder on your cardstock, I don't want that one, I want the Versamark, it reduces the amount of stray embossing powder, the likelihood of stray embossing powder sticking to your cardstock and messing up your print. So I'm going to stamp that right there. And I think I'm just going to keep this one thanks, just plain old thanks. So I'm going to move that, and I'm going to bring in my embossing box. And now, of course, I have all of these right there. I don't want them to go anywhere. That gets stuck to the bottom of the box. So, I know I've told you before, I like to put my embossing powder in a container that I can easily scoop out of and tip right back in. I keep a brush with my tools because even though I use the embossing buddy, I have a couple little speckles, just a couple, and they're easy to brush off. And then, because when you close it, just the embossing buddy makes everything, or the embossing powder makes everything gritty, no matter how careful you are to keep it over. So I keep everything within the box, and then I just don't have issues. And there we go. We get this heated up. One of the key things is to not overheat it, because if you overheat it, it will wind up going from melted and glossy to melted and absorbed into the paper and not glossy. So there it is, it just turned. So I'm gonna call it quits. And then on the dark cardstock, you may be able to see, it still looks kind of dusky. Hello, Paula and Wergie and Louise. Thanks for joining me today. So I've got this is a clean chamois, just lightly damp, and I'm just going to lightly go over that to get the rest of the powdery part off. And now we will glue this on. And I'm going to get it right aligned up on those corners. This is why I like the liquid glue. I've got a moment where it will slip and get right snug up there. And now we can start figuring out and laying out what we want to do. So let's do that. We'll go pinks on this one. How about? And so I'm just figuring out a few things to put on here. I think I like that. And I could pick them all up again, but I'm just going to use a bit of press and seal. This is the Glad Wrap product that has adhesive on the back. It is a little difficult to find here in Australia. Let me know if you need help. but I like it because I can now keep that cluster the way I like it and bring in dimensionals and get it all stuck down. And I'll bring in some minis. There we go. If you find you're having trouble lifting the backings on your dimensionals, I like to push a fingernail into the middle of them, and that lifts the edge a little bit. If you're still having trouble, another way people like to do it is they use the pokey tool and go right in the middle and kind of flick up and off. And that keeps them all together. They don't go everywhere. Whatever you like to do. And now I can bring it back in. I can see through and figure out where it was that I really liked it. And lay it back on. And there we go. And we will put a middle part in, or an inside part in. Add a few on the inside here. And there is card number 1. I think we may need I'm gonna think on that. Let's think on that one a little bit. Okay, so for version number 2, I'm gonna bring in another card base, and I'm going to use this new lasting linen background stamp. And I'm just going to add a bit of texture to my card base. So I'm going to ink up with Night of Navy. And I have not even put this on a block. I am just going to use it as is. I'm going to make sure I know which side is up. Now, these are truthfully sized more for letter-sized cardstock card bases. So bring in my scrap here. Now I can really push and not worry about getting ink on my hands. So because I'm covering up that top edge with the basic white strip, it's okay with me that the top edge of my card base is hanging off there. because you won't see that part that doesn't have. See, I'll show you. Put that up there. We won't see it, but we've got the texture down here. And I'm going to bring in my embossing buddy again. Extra important because I have damp ink on here, right? So this will help the ink dry and not catch embossing powder, is the hope. Okay, so we will do this again. We are basically doing exactly the same card. See, we got a little more powder there, but we'll get that off now with my brush. So when you buy the Embossing Editions toolkit, you'll get a brush, you get the embossing buddy, you get some tweezers to help hold your stuff while you are embossing. I have various bits and pieces that I've accumulated over the years, so I didn't buy the kit. But if you don't have, then the kit's a good deal. Gets you everything you need. It also has one of the powder trays to be able to pour over and funnel back into your little pot if you like to do it that way. There we go. Get that out of the way. We'll bring that in and glue it. And let's go purple this time, huh? Just looking to see what all I've got here. Oh my goodness. This one is being more difficult. Is that why? There. That's better. Okay. Feel free to chime in here, folks. So Paula, well, Gladys, you got snow. Paula, are you getting any of the snow that hit the Midwest? Today we are finally having, today, tomorrow, summery weather. Which, you know, I don't like it hot. So I really haven't been upset that it has been unseasonably cool. But I will say it's nice to have the sun out today. Paula says they got 3 inches. Only got 3 inches. Yes, well, we get no inches here in Melbourne, so. And I will say that from this distance, the snow in the Midwest that my friends posted looked very nice. But I also didn't have to go out and shovel my driveway or deal with the bitter cold, so. I can admire it from here. And there's that one. And we'll do an inside. Few of these. Stick. Okay, there's that one. And now the third one, I am going to add, I'm going to try doing some actual embossing texture, but first, let me do this side. So I'm doing this because I'm going to do the texture I'll save the cardstock. I'm going to do it on the card base. No, I'm not. And I'm thinking that because this is a directional embossing folder. And to run it through on the card base, I would have to have it upside down. You see how that goes upside down? So I am going to do it on this separate piece that I can then orient the way I want. So once more, embossing buddy on there. Thanks. There. There's that. And now I can put it in there. And I'm going to run this through the cut and emboss, and I'll be right back. And you see, there it is. And now we will glue this on. Do a little more glue when there's texture, just to help get good adhesion. Come on. And I often cut the layer on top a little bit long, so I want it flush up where this hinged end is, and I'll let it be a little bit long at this end because that is much easier to trim flush. Really, I can get my cutter to work right. Oh, come on. I was about to tell you how much I really like that cutter for things like that. Because really, this is much easier and nicer. Always something when you're live to show up what you're saying, right? Okay, there we go. And now that can go on top. And again, I'm using a little more glue than I did on the flat cardstock. To help account for the texture. And let's see if I have enough things of the kind that I want. So I am using some of the gold ones. Hopefully the ones I've chosen will stick nicely, play well. Nope, I don't like them. I don't like how the gold flakes off. So we're going to cut another set. Which is just fine. And what I'm doing is I'm just taking the purple ones I do that just to get a good seal down there. And you'll see here, they just line right up with that die, and I will be right back. So, there is that. And there are all of those. Yeah, I haven't gotten I haven't gotten any pre-order stuff. I ordered it yesterday, Annette. But I didn't order the Greenery Lane washi tape. I'm kind of waiting on that one. So, okay, so now we're going to make another cluster of things. How do we want to do this one? Da, 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 da. I'm actually going to try okay. I figure if you get bored with me, you'll move on, but hopefully. Oh my goodness. Uh-huh. My problem is I want it to go the other way, actually. That's my biggest problem. Okay. Well, my biggest problem is I'm just futzing too much. Okay, let's try it the other way. Let's see what happens if we try putting it down one by one. Oh, yeah, Annette, you don't have a take your pick tool? Oh, you need to have one of those. Absolutely. There we go. That's getting better. There we go. Okay, now I'm happy. Oh, need to do some inside. Yeah, when I'm making a list of essentials for new stampers, Take Your Pick tool is there along with blocks and inks. Let's put that one on. We're going to get the last drop of glue out here. Really? Come on. Okay, so we have one more plain, one with a stamped background texture, and one with an embossed texture on it. What do you think? Do you have a favorite? We'll bring this one up and show. You could put some bling. Don't need bling. I'm gonna leave them like that, I think. Again, I've been tending towards less bling. Okay, well, thank you for joining me today. These will be on my blog. I always say it's the very next blog post. Which it probably is. I have to blog tomorrow. I'm taking part in a blog hop, so it'll be 2 blog posts from now. Let me put it that way. But you can always find it under the name of this video, Extraordinary Flora Border Cards, and you can find it at nancysniftynotes.com. If you have any questions, comments that you want to send to me personally, Nancy at nancysniftynotes.com. If you are in Australia and would like to work with me as your demonstrator, I am a very straight shooter, and I tell you, you don't need to buy that because this will work just fine without it. Or I would recommend, I recommend things that work well together and discourage people from buying things that are going to be outliers that they'll not know what to do with. If you are in a different Stampin' Up market, New Zealand, Europe, North America, I am happy to link you up with one of my demonstrator friends that I also think will do well by you. So just drop me a line and I will put you in touch there. If you're in Australia and you would like a copy of the upcoming January through April mini catalog, again, drop me a line. I can get that to you. And be sure to take a look online because there are new kits and new online exclusives available now in December. So, is that right? No. New kits, new online exclusives, I think in January. Sorry about that. So, yeah, thanks for joining me today, and I will be back same time, same place next week. See you then. Thanks. Bye-bye.